outnumbered overtime.
Oh.
OT baby. A couple of things to tell you about. Bill Hemmer, Jedediah Bila in the house. Julie Roginsky in the house. Sandra calling me out live on TV for knocking on her door.
Not the first
asking,
time, too.
What do you think? What do you think?
She's just always on me for like, who are you going to vote for?
No, that never happened.
Teasing.
No, but we were having an
jokes.
interesting conversation as I bring up the live chat and bring in the voice of all of our viewers, Bill. Anderson Cooper and some other journalists are saying that they may not vote because they feel like they just may not do that. They've got so much inside information. It's kind of, and you gave an interesting example of what that might be like.
Well, it's kind of like in the business reporting business where the companies forbid you from buying certain stocks or any stocks or just sticking to mutual funds. And the reason for that is they don't want you to appear biased if you're talking about a company on television.
I came up with that same comparison myself, and then I disagreed with my own analogy.
Why?
And that is because when you buy and sell stocks, commodities, any sort of investment or asset, it is to benefit yourself. And when you're voting for a presidential candidate, you're voting for the good of the country.
Yeah, good of your country. Also in your own self-interest, right? I mean, that's because these are the issues that drive.
You're not voting when you buy a stock. You're not buying it to benefit the stock market as a whole.
Yeah, I can see the distinction.
I also suspect if you're a really prominent business anchor, you can move markets, and therefore, if you own some of these stocks, you could actually move the value of that stock, as opposed to you're one of 200,000 people in the country, 200 million people in the country, 280 million people in the country. Even if half of them vote, you're just one vote. You're really not going to be able to effectuate single-handedly the outcome of an election.
I like this conversation. It's very informative.
So you should go vote, Harris Faulkner.
I'm going to vote for you, Julie Roginsky.
I'm constitutionally banned, unfortunately. Like Ted Cruz, I was not born in this country.
Jedediah, throwing some shade at the Republicans. Would you like to take that one?
I mean, with the way this election's going, I'm probably going to write my dog in with the way things are looking, so I won't feel guilty. No, I actually may do a write-in.
Little dog.
I may do a write-in. I mean, I've been a Rand Paul girl from the beginning, and I'm one of those people that has to be able to lay my head on a pillow at night and feel like I voted for someone that I believe in. So I might pull a libertarian in and vote for them, even though they don't have a shot. But so I don't think my vote's going to make a big difference.
A former hashtag one lucky guy was.
There's got to be a lot of votes for Hemmer out there.
Now to the live chat, where we literally have thousands of people on, and we appreciate that. Emily Trex says people are paying attention now because, Bill, you talked about how early people are paying attention to the elections. People are paying attention now because their lives have been directly affected by President Obama's small business, quote-unquote, strangulations. We don't want more of the same. Kevin Dubuque says we shouldn't talk religion or politics at work because they can get us into arguments.
Yeah, they can.
Same rules while dating, by the way. Trouble 2K.
No, but what I think is interesting about the strangling regulations, and you'll notice that when you talk, and as we often do on the Business Network, interview Wall Street and top executives and people who are running these small and large businesses, many of them do support Hillary Clinton.
Is that right?
Right now, Wall Street is looking for certainty. What happened during the Obama administration was a lot of uncertainty around healthcare laws, regulations kept changing, taxes, and beyond anything, when you talk to these people, they aren't going to vote for someone based on any one specific policy, but they want certainty because that allows them to hire, that allows them to build and expand.
Riddle me this then. I think Wall Street's happy with both potential options here. I think they'd be happy with Clinton or they'd be happy with Trump.
Yes.
But based on what you're explaining, though, Trump is more of a wild card than she is because he has less of a track record in public service, clearly. Yes or no?
Correct. There's a lot of uncertainty over what Donald Trump sees. He says he's going to be so good for business. What is that exactly? What are his plans? He hasn't been that specific. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, has been much more specific. She was one of the first people to lay out her tax plan. She was one of the first people to lay out her plan to build and strengthen the U.S. economy. I mean, she was forthright. She was one of the leaders in that. And I think that certainty really is admired.
Look at some of the people who were in her husband's administration who now are vilified in the Democratic left, but nevertheless were a significant part. Bob Rubin left Citibank eventually, used to be Goldman Sachs, and so on and so forth. I mean, so there are people, Larry Summers, All these people are people that I think Wall Street knows well, came from Wall Street, so they probably
have ties with them.
And I'm sure have heard some of those speeches that none of us have heard and know exactly what she talked about when she was talking about Goldman Sachs or anybody else.
And look at the money that keeps coming in from Wall Street.
One thing that I would say, though, for Democrats is that the economy has been still in the focus because that's where one of the candidates, Bernie Sanders, has really stayed. You know, on the Republican side, it's kind of been all over the place because, as you said during the hour of TV that we did today, Jedediah, they've been focused mostly on each other.
I'm also curious for Republicans, is it going to be national security? Because there's been so much talk about national security, and I'm wondering whether, you know, typically we talk pocketbook issues and we say that's what drives people to the polls, how much money you're keeping, taxes, regulation, issues like that. But this year just feels like a very heavy national security year. And when I talk to voters, with the exception of very young voters, I often hear that they're most concerned about terrorism, most concerned about us being viewed as weak, most concerned about our allies feeling that we don't have their back, and concerned that this stuff might wind up in our backyard. So I don't know if the economy is going to be the number one thing that drives.
So you raised a really, I mean, Jedediah raised an excellent point, which is that
she usually does.
Democrats and Republicans are not even speaking the same language. The voters that you're talking to are most likely Republican. Because for the Republicans, national security, immigration, everything you just talked about is paramount. For Democrats, it's global warming and the economy. So again, even the issues aren't the same. It used to be.
But dial it down further, because Bill Hemmer said this election is and will continue to be all about women. What do women want? What is the top issue?
Well, so women,
I think economy.
Women, economy, and healthcare to a large extent, and that's why Democrats have not the kind of healthcare that I think Republicans like to vilify Democrats with. It's not free birth control. It's not abortion. It's truly access to healthcare, because don't forget, women are the primary people in the household who actually sign the checks and do the household budget, take the kids to the doctor, and that's something that's important to women across the board, not just Democratic women, but independent women and also Republican women.
Jedediah, political superhero, says everyone is arguing Trump, Cruz, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Hillary is going to win by default. Rand Paul 2020. He's with you on the Rand Paul, in his humble opinion. We'll see what happens. Indiana is tonight. Bill Hemmer's got to go and take a nap.
I'm going to go do something for Gretchen. We've got a quarantine meeting later this afternoon. We'll figure out what's doing on the inside.
All right, I like it. Well, thank you for being with us on this all-important Super Tuesday Part 6.
Fun day.
We're going to wrap it up. We'll see you on TV back here right after that.
Hammer time.
Woo!